Hey guys, welcome to Mitch's Music. As a guitarist and a music teacher, I often get asked what type of guitars should I buy for my kid? What type of guitar should I buy for myself? And so today I was going to show you some of my guitars and talk a little bit about the differences between beginner guitars and what my top picks are. And I'll go into more detail in a later video and give you specifics on what exact guitar to buy. But for right now, if you cannot wait for that video, you can check the description below and I'll have some links to some of my favorite guitars that some of my students have used that have worked really great for them. So what I've got in my hand right now is an older 3/4 size guitar. 3/4 size means that it's not as big as a regular guitar. So here's my 3/4 size guitar, and then I've also got my electric guitar right here. So as you can see, it's a little shorter than the electric. It's not quite as wide. And for acoustic guitars, this is a huge thing to consider as far as the body size. So you want a body size that's accessible. And let me grab my acoustic guitar and I'll show you how it compares to this guitar. I'll be right back. Alright, so this is my acoustic. This is the 3/4 size acoustic, and as you can see, the body size is a big difference. So this one is quite the full size is quite a bit larger than the smaller one. So let's talk a little bit about this smaller one and then I'll go into the full size. So if you have a 4th grader or lower, I would suggest getting a 3/4 size guitar. At 4th grade, you can probably start thinking about switching to a full size, and it might just be a little large for your child for a couple of years, but it's better to do that than to have to buy a brand new guitar once they outgrow that 3/4 size guitar. But a 3/4 size guitar will last you from 1st grade, kindergarten, on up through 5th grade. And if you buy a great 3/4 size guitar, it could last you even longer than that. But other than being smaller, the 3/4 size guitar is also going to be a little bit easier on the fretboard to play. And I would not suggest getting any smaller guitar than this. The half-size guitars have a really hard time staying in tune, and so I would not suggest going that route. 3/4 size guitars stay in tune pretty well, and they sound pretty good too. So 3/4 size guitar. Now, should you buy an acoustic or should you buy an electric? Should you buy a classical? And really that's up to you. So some of the difference between this one, the acoustic, and the classical is the classical has nylon strings. And so nylon strings are going to be slightly easier to play than these. They're not going to hurt your fingers quite as much, but it comes with a downside that the fretboard is going to be a little bit wider on a classical guitar. The other downside of a classical compared to an acoustic is that classical guitars do not lend themselves well to modern music, mainly because it's harder to bend strings. They're not meant for bending as much. They're more meant for finger playing. So when you use a pick and you start to really be aggressive with it, the chords don't blend as well as with an acoustic guitar. So that's some of the difference between an acoustic and a classical. If I had to choose between those two, I would go with acoustic because it would last you a lot longer. And specifically, acoustic electric. If you can find, there are several 3/4 size acoustic electrics out there, and that will keep you from having to buy a new guitar for a little while longer. So, should you start with acoustic or should you start with electric? Does it matter? Really, it doesn't matter too much, except for what your motivations are. So if you like rock and roll, if your child likes rock music, or if you are more influenced by rock music, an electric guitar might be better for you. Plus, an electric guitar also has the benefit of having an amp. And when you have the amp, a lot of people think electric guitars are really loud. Not so, because all amps have headphone jacks. So if you get tired of hearing the guitar, plug in the headphone jack, you don't hear it anymore. You can't plug in a headphone for this guy. So you're always going to hear this guy. So no late night practices or anything like that. So let me grab the full-size guitar right here, and we'll talk a couple of differences about this one. So like I said, really a full-size guitar is just larger. So it's going to have a larger body down here, and the neck's going to be a little bit longer. The more expensive your guitar is, the better the action in general. But a lot of the cheaper guitars now are being made much better than they used to. I remember my first guitar had strings so far off of the fretboard, and it was really, really hard to play. Not so anymore. If you check out some of the electrics and acoustics in the description, they're great for beginners and they're really, really easy to play. All right, guys, if you have any questions, if there's something I didn't cover in this particular one and you still have some questions about what guitar to get, then just leave those in the comments. I just wanted to give a brief overview for you guys. I'm going to go into more detail about specific guitars in another video. But leave any comments that you have, and if you would like to learn from me, if you'd like to join my guitar community, I have a guitar community that you can sign up for in the description as well. And we meet together, we play together. There are resources for parents and children to learn together, families and friends to learn together, and just join the community and you can get plugged right in. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.